right, we on. We should be good to go. Showing here. We're live. Why did it not come on here? What the hell?
Yes, sir. Top.
We're on TikTok right now.
Oh, we're on TikTok. I'm wondering. I'm trying to get YouTube.
Yeah.
I'm wondering why YouTube ain't showing
We're
up.
not on YouTube. Yeah, we're not on YouTube right now.
Yeah, I'm working with the YouTube now. So what's happening?
Yes, sir.
What the hell's going on YouTube? So it's public, huh? Let's see.
Welcome to you, Tip Top. I see a lot of people joining and getting on and off.
All right, hey, welcome to the Hood
Let's
Report.
get it
on. Let's go ahead. We get started. Hey, welcome to the Hood Report. Happy Sunday. This is where you get live sports action, conversation, and realness about sports. Today we got a very interesting set of topics we're going to review today. We're going to talk the NBA. Focus on the NBA. We got the championship that was solidified yesterday evening. So we're going to go and dig into that matchup, and go further into the teams. We're going to talk key players and keys to either side winning. And then we're going to also at the end give our predictions and our number of games. But prior to that, we just finished up a game last night where I was hoping for a game 7. Unfortunately, we failed to get a game 7. But want to first start off, talk a little bit about that game, talk about what we saw. The reason why we thought the Knicks may not have been able to pull it off and push it to a game 7, which is what I think the majority wanted. So we're going to that first, and then we're going to hit it real, some real shit for the championship. So let's start off. Mark, why don't you hit the game last night and tell me what you saw, what you thought, and why the Knicks aren't playing again on game 7 tomorrow.
Hey, sometimes you got to call a spade a spade. And you got to get other team credit. Indiana outplayed us. They came harder yesterday at home. They had that home crowd behind them. Hey, and they stepped it up and did what they had to do. I mean, throughout this whole series, we had some good games, but all the games, the majority of the games was good games, besides probably game 5 or whatever. But they were all good. But Knicks probably blew it by blowing that game 1. That came back to cost them. So, but you got to give Indiana credit. They have multiple players that can score. They deserve to be there, and you got to give them credit. Pat them on the back and say, hey. And look, they've been one of the hottest teams the last couple of months, so they just rolled over. Hey, and they had a championship. They deserve it. Got to give them credit. Hey, they beat my Knicks.
Yeah. It was that third quarter that turned that game around. Third quarter, the Knicks is just having turnover after turnover in that third quarter. I think they got like 14, 15 points in the third quarter off those turnovers. So it's like that defense, they was just stifling. They was just all over Brunson. You know what I mean? So it was like that defense. They got it going in the third quarter, and the Knicks just couldn't recover after that. It was over.
Yeah, I think the thing that was surprising to me is that Indiana played better defense than what I expected and what they've done in the past. So I think I would tell you, Nembhard did a good job covering Brunson 1-on-1, 94 feet. He did a good job. Obviously, he had some help here and there, but I say Nembhard played big. I think the other things that played out in that I'll talk about when I talk about the championship series, but some of the things Indiana did really well yesterday is points off turnovers was ridiculous. They had 34 points off the Knicks turnovers. So not only were the Knicks turning the ball over, they had 17 turnovers. The Pacers were converting that into points. So that was big.
Yep.
The other thing is the Pacers shot 52% from the three-point line. So for the series, they shot over 40%. Last night, they shot 52% for the game. So you shoot 52% from the three-point line. You hold your turnovers down. They only had 12 turnovers to the Knicks 17. They stayed close in the rebounding. I think that's what gave them a great opportunity to win. And then last and certainly not least, their bench, as Martin indicated, they got a lot of people that can step up, a lot of people that can score. I mean, they got 18 from Toppin yesterday. They got 11 from Bryant, who was stuck on the bench all series.
I don't know where that came from.
And that was big. He hit a couple big threes that broke open the third quarter to Tweedy's point. So I think those were the big things that happened. So, I think, hey, kudos to the Pacers. Pacers earned their way there. They hadn't lost back-to-back games since March. So,
well, the one thing, the one thing that's special about them is every game it could be somebody else that scored 30. I mean, you've seen throughout the series, Siakam scored 30 a couple times. Nembhard scored one game. You had Naismith score one game. Halliburton scored one game. So with them, it's kind of hard to stop them because they have multiple people that can they score 30, 25 points. So hey, they deserve it. They beat my Knicks. Hey, pat them on the back.
Well, yeah, I hear a lot of talking about the Pacers. I don't hear you saying much about them Knicks. I don't hear you saying much about them Knicks.
I said pat them on the back. I said Indiana beat the better team.
Well, what about your boys' performance? I didn't hear you saying nothing about your boys' performance.
They outplayed us. Okay. Go ahead.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
Like I've been telling you from the get-go, this team was overrated and they went too far. The stars was aligned for this team, and they should have seized on the moment and went there. But you know what now? Now they go back to counting these years of nothing. You know what I'm saying? I'm so glad because the one thing I do like, I can tell you now, they had an excellent season. They had an excellent season, right? No, they didn't because they fell short of expectations. They fell short of expectations of what they had and what they should have done. And that's what I'm saying. Them Knicks ain't shit.
Okay, so first thing I gotta say is, why did you go change and put that loser shit on? Them motherfuckers lost in the first round, and they lost to the fucking Knicks. The team that you talking about was playing so bad. Why
nobody
did you go
remembers second, third, fourth, or fifth place?
First of all, why did you do that first? I mean, because I don't get it. Why would you go pull the team that lost in the first fucking round? But anyway, now you say they didn't
you see that three up there?
Expectations. Actually, they did because didn't nobody expect them to be
nobody
to even make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. So you're wrong from that. You're just so wrong.
You see that three championships
this year, you can't get over the pain and the hurt that the Knicks.
Oh, I'm over it. No. I'm happy.
No, you're not over it.
Guess what? Guess what? You right where I'm at.
Story for another day.
You right where I'm at. But you still ain't got these.
Story for another day.
Still ain't got them, baby.
All right. So look, anything else you might want to touch on the game last night? If not, we're going to transition over to the game in front of us that's coming up on Thursday. Anybody got anything?
The Pacers.
Tyrese was surprised he ain't win that MVP trophy, wasn't he?
He walked up, he pointed like, that's me.
That was crazy.
It's me.
Surprised he didn't win that, didn't he?
He thought he had it. Yeah. I mean, and honestly, they could have gave it to him or Siakam.
Yeah,
I mean,
I agree.
I would have been mad if he would have got it or Siakam. But both of them had good series. Old boy did have two. I mean, he won 2 games for him, but
Both of them deserve.
I wouldn't mad.
Both
I would have been
deserve
mad
it.
either way.
Yeah, both of them deserve.
I would say
I would have been mad either way.
Siakam was deserving because what the other thing I tell you, which is a bit surprising, yesterday it was more yesterday, but Siakam actually played decent defense on Cat. I mean, I'm like, okay, Cat, you should be killing him. I mean, they were doing some doubling too, but on some of the occasions when they were 1-on-1, he played decent. He played decent defense. He played a lot more physical than what I thought he would, and normally he's not a 3-point shooter. He's making threes yesterday. So I think there's no shame in Siakam getting it. But yeah, either one of them could have got it. I think
either one could have got it.
And I think both of them are going to be key in the next series. So
you can't be mad at Siakam. He balled out.
Yeah,
he balled out. But yeah, he balled out.
He balled. So it was either way. Either way.
So transition over. We start to look at the championship and what's going to happen there. Let's start with Indiana, and let's say first off, if Indiana is going to make it a series and win and ultimately win the series, then who are the key players for them that need to step up, and then what are some of the keys to victory for the Indiana Pacers on that side? Tweety, why don't you go first?
It's all when it comes to the finals, it's got to be your superstars or your stars. Tyrese, he got to step up. He can't be up and down. He can't have a game. He have 9 points. He can't have a game under 10 points at all against this OKC, who I picked to win the NBA championship in the first place. So
along the Lakers, you picked the Lakers too, or you picked just OKC?
OKC.
Okay.
I had OKC to win in the championship this year.
Okay.
So it has to be Tyrese. He has to step up. He has to have a decent game, and he gonna be playing against he ain't gonna be on SGA. He ain't gonna be on SGA. He gonna be on somebody else. He might be on Williams or somebody.
They got Naismith.
So,
they got Naismith guard him.
Yeah, they gonna have Naismith, but it got to be Tyrese. So for me for them to win the series for Indiana.
Okay. Any other
I think it's all about pace for.
The key to victory.
Go ahead, Q.
Tweet. The keys for victory. I don't think they got no keys.
No, they got keys.
No damn keys.
No, they got keys.
It's gonna be OKC. They gonna lose the series.
They
might get swept.
There's keys.
Damn.
All right, Mark, what you got? Yeah. Tweety saying no keys. Go ahead.
Well, first of all, if they play, if they got multiple players that can score like that, I mean, I know they're gonna be going up against the best defensive team, which is the OKC is the best defensive team, the best perimeter team. But I think the key is if Indiana can get out and run, and not having to deal with the half court defense, if they can put the tempo, kind of like how we were doing yesterday. I mean, because a couple times the Knicks will score a basket, and Indiana already down there for layup. So, but the one thing about them, I'll tell you, the one thing about them making them special is you can't just key in key in on one person. Like last year, Minnesota, they keyed in on Ant-Man, and they shut him down, and that was all pretty much what they had. With Indiana, the way they have multiple people that can score, it might be a little bit harder. It might be a little bit harder for them to actually defend them. But I think pace is going to be the pace is going to be very important. And then Indiana can't turn the ball over because OKC lives and dies off the turnovers.
Right.
They turn Minnesota over damn near the whole fucking game every game. So I think if Indiana can not turn the ball over and then get the consistent scoring that they've been getting from multiple people, I give them a chance. Chance.
Any players you want to point out, or any players you think are key for Indiana?
Yes. Well, I think who is one player on their team that got that championship experience? It's Siakam. I think Siakam is very big in the series. He's been here before and played very well in championship too. So I think he's big. But for Indiana to have a chance, Nembhard is gonna have to step up. Old boy,
Miles Turner.
What's his name? Halliburton for sure. I'm not gonna miss him because I know for sure he's gonna have to come out and play. But I think their other role players going to step up. Turner didn't do too well this series. He played decent yesterday, but I think they're gonna need something from him. I mean, it's gonna have to be a real team effort to beat this team because OKC is tough. So they're gonna need a lot of
good in the game they lost.
Lot of role players. A lot of role players going to step up for Indiana for them to have a chance.
No, I agree with that. All right, Q, what you got?
I'm in total agreements with my cousin here talking about the role players, and I didn't really see an angle for Indiana to beat them. I know they're kind of evenly matched. They both go 10 deep into the rotation and stuff, but I just didn't see a way because it's like the same style teams, but you just little brother and big brother, and OKC happens just to be the big brother of the team. But now that I'm listening to Martin and I'm talking, and we're thinking about ways for them to get away from that defense, and we seen it yesterday with Siakam, especially missing even like you say, Martin, on the makes. He ran out a couple of times and made some hell of a layups. You know what I'm saying? Running out, and some good passes, to get those easy buckets. So if they can do that, that's a Western style playing. That's how the West play. Up and down, kind of fast. Maybe they can keep up with this team. You know what I'm saying? Maybe.
Cut that shit out.
And another key factor, just one of the key factors that nobody has mentioned. They got a championship coach. I'm just saying.
Oh yeah.
We gonna see. I mean, he's a championship coach. So I think it's gonna be more interesting than what people think. Yeah. I do.
All right, let me I'll weigh in here. What I say is this: I think we'll see what happens. We'll be calling our winners in a minute. So put that to the side and just talking keys to Indiana winning. So Tweety missing a point here because the point is you're looking objectively to say one side versus the other side what they need to do. So here's what Indiana needs to do to win, and this is going to be it. Number one, as Martin said, he made a good point. OKC, you cannot feed the beast as far as turn the ball over. They'll go through scoring laws. How they get over those is by getting turnovers on defense and then turn that into offense. So big, first and foremost, is you got to keep the turnovers to probably 10 or less per game in order to have a chance to win and keep them having to score on your set defense every time. Number two thing is they have to do is pace is important. They got to push it religiously every time they get the ball because them playing in the half court versus them playing in full court. I mean, playing half court versus playing the running style, they're night and day difference. They'll find shooters. They'll get shooters open. You don't want to have to play against OKC's defense for the 24-second shot clock the entire time down. You don't want to do that. Otherwise, you have problems scoring. So I think them getting out on the break and playing a fast game all the time, and Halliburton being the engine of that, Halliburton got to drive and get to the paint and kick out to shooters. And if he's doing that, not on the perimeter dribbling around, but driving, penetrating, and then kicking out from there, that's when Indiana's at their best, when he kicks out and they skip the ball, or either the first person takes the shot, which then is going to set them up for an opportunity to have, I think they have a good set of three-point shooters. I think they'll shoot a high percentage in three-pointers if they get good looks, but Halliburton's got to be the engine that does it in order for them to have a chance in the series. So if they do that, actually, with the fact that unlike Minnesota, you can't just load up on one guy, right? It's easier to stop one guy, and Minnesota didn't play smart, but it's easier to stop when you load up on one guy, and one guy you got him coming downhill 5-on-1, 1-on-5, trying to get to the basket, right? Where this team, you don't know who to guard. If you're OKC, you don't know who to level up on, right? So that's going to be a big thing, and I think I would tell you this: just watching Nembhard play. Naismith, not Nembhard too. But Naismith play defense, he might play some good defense on Shea. I think he'll be able to stand in front of Shea and play some good defense on Shea and make it harder for him to score. He ain't going to stop him. Nobody's going to stop him. But I think Naismith has the size from a height perspective. He's bulky. He's stronger, probably stronger than Shea. So I think he has an opportunity to be able to slow Shea down. If you can slow Shea down, then you have an opportunity. And I think they got to rebound the ball. So
I think he has to. He gonna have to stay away from old boy drawing fouls because that's one of the NBA know how to do. He know how to get those fouls, like grabbing you and grabbing your arm and all that stuff. He's very crafty at that. He gonna have to stay away from that.
But to be honest, they're well seasoned because the guy they just got finished beating, That's what he do all day long. Draw fouls and crap. You know JYB, Junkyard Brunson. That's what he do all day long. He's a foul
not like
maker.
SGA.
He's gonna have to do
not
the
like
same
SGA.
thing.
Well,
he's gonna do the same thing with
is a little
SGA, but
faster.
even better.
Yeah, exactly. I'll give you that.
SGA is even better at drawing these fouls. I mean, he did the leading free throws, right?
Right.
OKC just got too many wing defenders. They gonna be on them boys. They ain't gonna shoot them open threes. They, when Cat wasn't playing that defense, but OKC plays defense, and they gonna lock these boys down.
What I would say is
they
this:
gonna lock these boys down.
It's easy to play defense when you can focus in on certain players. It's much more difficult to play defense when you have to guard across the board and you got to watch everybody. That's not an easy team, but it's not an easy team to stop. They ain't seen a team like there ain't probably another team like Indiana in the league. Indiana's probably the most unique team where they don't have any superstars. They got a star. They don't have any superstars, but they don't need him to necessarily win. They need him to be aggressive and pass the ball. And it's not. They ain't seen no Indiana team across the league. When I think about it, there's probably not another team like Indiana. Indiana's unique from that standpoint.
I'm telling you, they close to OKC and they mirrors in the same way. They can go that deep. They got all these players, around with one guy.
But OKC has a superstar. OKC does have a superstar. Right. I'm saying with these guys, they don't. Right. They got a star. They got a star. Halliburton's a star.
I think he's a star.
Yeah,
he's no superstar.
He's a star.
He's not no superstar, but
right.
He's a star.
And
he's a good star.
You don't need him to score big to win, right? He came through yesterday.
You don't.
They were up yesterday in the third quarter, and he didn't do nothing. He started doing things in the fourth quarter, and they were winning, and they got up on him. He just helped to sustain the lead. So they don't require him or continue on him scoring. They just need him to push the ball and push the pace. That's all they really count on him for. Is that if he does that, then it makes a whole different ball game. So I think, contrary to belief, I think we're probably gonna have a good series. It's gonna be minimum 6 games. I think. I don't think it's gonna be a short series. I think it'll be minimum 6. Nah, minimum
Gentleman
6,
sweep.
Gentleman sweep.
Yeah.
Gentleman sweep. I think Indiana get one. They will get one at home.
Okay.
That's it.
Don't forget, I threw you a life raft for Indiana last time. Now you're gonna have to be a little nicer than that.
I doubt it. It's gonna be a gentleman sweep.
What he got to agree with you for? He ain't got to agree with you. Forget it. But now switching over to look. Now we're gonna go over to OKC side. So we kind of talked about the keys to Indiana winning. So now you're talking OKC, and you're talking the key players who need to show up for them, and then what are some of the key factors in OKC being able to win. Then let's hit that for a second. Quentin, why don't you go first on OKC? What do you think about OKC key players and key factors in them winning the championship?
Well, it's got to be that the pressure's already going to be on Shea, so it's going to have to be that second man, that the dynamic duo. It's going to have to be Robin, which is Mr. Williams. We're going to need Mr. Williams to do his thug thizzle, and he's going to be the X factor because he will take the pressure off of Shea, and he's a great compliment and going to get the other role players involved too. So I'm going to say Williams is going to be my key to them winning. This is a tough series, so we haven't got to that part yet, but I think Williams is going to play a big role in it.
Okay.
All
right. Then the keys.
I think it's going to be the defense of Dort, Caruso, and all these the wing defenders for OKC on these Indiana Pacers, because they will hit these shots. They will get out and run. So it has to be the defense for the OKC to hold these guys to limit it to points and stuff like that. So it got to be the wing defenders for OKC to win this game, and they just can't rely on SGA and Williams to hit shots to win this game, to win this championship. They got to rely on everybody.
Yeah, everybody
got to get out there and play these boys so they can win the championship this year.
Okay. No, I can't say I disagree with that. How about Martin? What are your thoughts on the OKC side?
the OKC side to me is something that we didn't mention, and that's their perimeter defense, because I think they do have the best perimeter defense in the league by far. And I think playing Indiana the way Indiana can score, they have multiple people that can score at their different positions. I think that perimeter defense, if they can slow that down, if you can slow down Indiana, then yeah, I think that's going to be a very big key to the series, because Indiana live and die off they scoring. They have to score to beat you. But even though Indiana has gotten better at defense, but their main thing is their offense. The offensive side of the ball with multiple people being able to score. So with OKC with that perimeter defense causing havoc, getting those turnovers, and then getting out getting out running and getting easy baskets, I think that's the number one thing for OKC. On the opposite side of the ball, on the opposite side of the ball, I do think SGA is going to have his way, but he will need help in this series, because you ain't going to stop Indiana every game. So of course you mentioned Williams, Q mentioned Williams, which is very true. But I think their bench, when they come in with Wiggins and Wallace coming to game, whatever, because they don't want some games just with them. So I think they will be needed in this series. Yeah. Because you had to be able to match Indiana's bench as well, because Indiana comes off the bench and they get that productivity off the bench. So OKC gonna need them guys to step up when they come to the game and match Indiana's intensity as well. So I think it's their bench, and then I think it's their defense. I think their perimeter defense is gonna have to step up big time to beat Indiana.
Yeah, I would say I think so too. I think they're not going to beat Indiana offensively. I think offensively, if it's an offensive series, then and you see it get up into the 110s, 120s, then I think Indiana wins those games. Anything that's higher scoring is going to be an Indiana win. Anything that's sub 100 and up to 110, both teams scoring, then that's an OKC game. And OKC may even score more on games where their defense is playing good, because they'll get X number of points on turnovers and stuff like that. So I think OKC, the key is the defense, as you guys have already mentioned. I think they have to be stout in their defense, and they have to be able to they're going to pick up 94 feet. They have to be able to slow down the Siakam. I think is a big point for Indiana, so I think it's a big emphasis for OKC is being able to slow down Siakam. But defensively, is going to be the difference maker. And I think from the standpoint of the players that are going to make the difference, I would say is this. I think it's going to be SGA, and I think Williams have to bring theirs, but I think the key players are going to be Hartenstein and going to be Holmgren. Because one of the things that you saw in the last series is Indiana can be got on the boards. They can be got on the board, and they can be scored down low. One of the things that you saw consistently is when Towns, who's not the swiftest of foot, when Towns put the ball on the ground, on the floor, they couldn't stay in front of him. They couldn't stop him. They couldn't guard him. Well, Holmgren is one that can actually move. And then Hartenstein's okay in moving. So I think the two big guys, they have to dominate the boards, number one. And then I think number two thing is they have to be able to score. They got to put the ball on the floor and not just rely on jump shots, but take the ball off the dribble, and they'll get to the basket, I think, pretty easily, which will take some pressure off of Shea and Williams to have to score. So I think those two are probably the ones that I'll call out the most for the series. And then after that, the bench is you got to, because Indiana's going to bring bench, and their bench is going to score. So you got to be able to keep up with their bench in order to be able to stem the tide when you have SGA and Williams on the bench. You got to be able to score to keep yourself in the game. So I think those are the factors that I see as far as the game is concerned. And I think the two big guys are going to play the biggest role in the series. I think when you boil it down, SGA gonna get his. He'll probably end up being the MVP of it. But when you peel back the layers of it and see what made the difference, it's gonna be the big guys. Is what I think. So
well, I think it's reverse on my end when you say the OKC score under 100 and Indiana scoring under 100. I think it's opposite. I think when OKC score over 100, they're gonna win majority of the time, and Indiana score under 100. So that's what I think.
Indiana can't win a game under 100. They can't. They won't win a game under 100 points.
They gonna have to act like these boys.
What's the game they're gonna have to win? if you look at today's, if you look at the stats of the two games they played, OKC won by average of 13 points. So that's the kind of game they're gonna have to play, Rod.
No. That's regular season bullshit. That don't mean nothing. The regular season don't mean nothing. Regular season don't mean nothing.
That's regular season.
Yeah, that's regular season.
And that's
That don't mean
also
regular season don't mean shit.
It's regular season, but also early in the season, Indiana wasn't playing good.
Exactly.
Indiana just got hot late in the season. So it's got hard to judge
but you don't play them both at the same time, Martin.
Indiana is not defensively skilled enough to win a game that's going to be low scoring. Without OKC's help in shooting bad, Indiana can't win that game. Indiana plays their best when they are pedal to the metal and they're running the gun and get up and down the floor, even on made shots like yesterday. That's the kind of game Indiana can win. Indiana can't win a game. Not saying they won't win a game because OKC can shoot bad, right? Anything can happen. But what I would tell you, what plays in Indiana's favor is a higher scoring game. That's what plays in their favor because that's the way they run their offense. They got to score to win because they're not going to beat you on defense.
You're right. We'll see.
Right.
Game one's a fill-out game. Game one fill-out game. We'll see.
That's the same thing to beat the Knicks. Defense. They beat the Knicks with playing defense. They was hounding your boy. Hounding Brunson.
They did yesterday. They did yesterday, but Brunson averaged 30 points a game for the series. So they hounded him. He averaged 30 points a game for the series. So yesterday Nembhard did a good job on him yesterday, 100%. But the staple of Indiana is not defense; it's offense. Offense is their staple.
Oh yeah.
Their defense is not. Right, they play good, and same thing with the Knicks. Same thing with when you look at that game is because Brunson. That's one of the things. One of my problems with the Knicks is I think Brunson got the ball in his hands too much. I think you got to diversify and move the ball better and let Brunson catch and finish some rather than always having to dribble and all that kind of stuff. I think that type of offense is easier to stop. So you can load up on him and put pressure on him, and then you can slow down the offense. Right.
Well, it's going to be a track field, whatever it is. They're going to have to put their running shoes on because it's going to go up and down the court. It's going to be a high-scoring series.
Absolutely. I do believe that.
If Indiana has to go against the half-court defense all series, they don't have a chance. They won't win a game if they're playing against the half-court defense of OKC every time. So they got to run the ball. They got to run it. They don't have a chance.
You got to run.
They have to, so it's going to be a track meet.
You basically saying you got to outrun a runner. They run the same way. Yeah. You got to outrun a runner. Yeah. Fuck.
But what I would tell you is, if it gets into a track meet, advantage Indiana. Because the reason why I say that is this, and go back and look at the stats from the last series. Now we're talking playoffs, not regular season shit. We're talking playoffs. Go back and look at the last series. Indiana in the running game, if their shooters get open, they can hit a high percentage of three-pointers. OKC does not. OKC in the last two years they done won, they ain't shot a high percentage, maybe in a game here and there, but for the series, they're 30-something%, low 30%. Indiana in that last series, they just shot 52% last night and shot high 40% for the series. And that's where Indiana wins, because Indiana, if those shoes are open, then they will beat OKC because they're a much better shooting team than OKC is. Take that to the bank. Go look at the stats.
No, so who we picking? Who we
picking
now?
Here we go.
If y'all talking about that all in Indiana,
let's make the picks and give your number of games. So go ahead, Tweety. You got your chest out.
Oh yeah, gentleman sweep. OKC.
Okay.
Gentleman sweep. It's all day. They might.
I mean, just no respect. No fucking respect.
All right, Q, who you got?
You know, it's
I don't want to have to jump ship again. So I'm gonna have to pick
you
the right vote.
You jumped it last week.
Hey! I threw you a little help too, so don't clown me too bad. Oh my God! I think I'm gonna have to go with OKC.
Okay. How many games?
OKC. But I'm
gonna
give the Pacers the respect they deserve, and I'm gonna say OKC in 7.
Okay.
What?
All right, I'll go next, Martin. I'll let you
Okay.
bring up the rear. I'm gonna say I think it's gonna be a much closer series than people think. I don't think it's gonna go 7, but I do think Indiana will get 2 games in particular, and where they can even turn it up into a good series. Is OKC been sitting a long time. You better watch out game 1. Game 1, they better watch out. If Indiana fuck around and get game 1, then it could be a problem. But I think OKC's gonna win the series. I say OKC 4-2. 6 games, OKC wins it in 6 against Indiana, but I think Indiana's going to be game, and I think Indiana's going to play a good series, but I think they're going to come up short. All right, Martin.
Yeah. OKC gonna win. I do think OKC gonna win. Indiana's gonna play a competitive series, but I do think in the end OKC is gonna win. They've been the best team all year, and they done proved it. They done been through some tough series. Well, they've been through one tough series, the Denver series. Minnesota didn't even show up, so I don't even count that one. But I think OKC is gonna win in 6.
OKC in 6. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it looks like, and I would imagine that the majority of all the odds makers and all that, I haven't looked at it yet today.
Oh, it's gonna be OKC.
But I know OKC is starting off a 9.5-point favorite. So now let's talk this game 1. Game 1. Now let's give our viewers some betting tips. So game 1, I'm telling you, take Indiana in 9.5. Indiana in 9.5, and Indiana covers the spread for you, and brings you the money. That's the play for the first game.
Win, lose, or draw.
What you guys think?
I think Indiana. I do think in the first game that's going to be one of their best shots to win, because sometimes too much rest is bad. When you're off that long, I think too much rest is going to be bad for OKC, and I think Indiana will have a good chance to really compete that game.
Yeah, I think so.
So
too.
I think OKC is rested.
I think
OKC is rested and ready to run.
No.
OKC in the over.
No.
OKC plus.
And the over.
9.5.
Yeah. Okay. He said, OKC.
Look, Tweety. Them boys been sitting at home, and we done seen them have trouble.
They rested.
Yeah, and we done seen them have trouble matching intensity. So we done seen when a team comes out with too much intensity, and they sitting there, and they kill Gritters on the sideline talking about stuff. Yeah, we got to match that shit. So I do believe that first game they're gonna have a little trouble getting it out of first gear, and a team that's already in third gear is already coming for that ass. So win, lose, or draw, the money is definitely good for Indiana. So I'm Indiana in the points is the way to go.
And I think the first game is going to be a filling out process. So I think it's going to be under 2. I think it's going to be
exactly
Indiana, and I'll say the under in that first game, because they're going to fill each other out. OKC is going to be off shooting to start because they've been off for so long. I think if Indiana has a chance to take one in OKC, that first one, if they take that first one, watch out. We got a series like a motherfucker then. So
we ain't New York. They ain't New York.
The one key, the one key factor I'm telling you, I think is going to be coaching, and the one advantage I think they do have is coaching. That's the Pacers. I think the Pacers have the coaching advantage. He done showed they know. Hey, he can win the big games, burst some very big teams. So we all remember who he beat back in the day to win the championship. So I'm just saying, he knows how to make adjustments to win. It wouldn't shock me if they went further and Indiana actually gave these boys a lot of trouble. I'm telling you, because I think that's going to be key. If he comes in there and makes some good adjustments, I think they get. Yeah, I can see it. Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, I think Carlisle. I think Carlisle is going to make some. Carlisle's good.
Underrated.
Coach. Yeah, I think he's good.
Underrated.
Coach. So
yeah,
we'll see what happens.
You know what would be interesting too is what was the big brother for Indiana that went down yesterday? Is he gonna be available for anything?
Jackson,
yeah, or is he done?
He's I don't know. I don't know how severe his ankle, how severe he missed his ankle. He landed on the side. So he had a bad landing on his foot. So I don't know, but he's the backup center. He's backup anyway. So
I think they're gonna need a smaller. If y'all talking about a running team is what it's gonna take to beat these boys, then I don't think he's gonna be. he was a big boy, so he ain't moving up and down the floor that fast.
Yeah. He's a backup, but he can shoot the ball. But he can't shoot.
Okay.
He actually is almost nearly a 40% shooter from 3-point line. So
really,
he's an impactful guy coming off the bench and being able to hit threes and score.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So, all right. So peeling back the onion a little bit and going back so we talked championship, and we'll maybe come back to that real quick before we jump off. We had two teams that were in the Eastern and Western Conference Finals. Let's take a little time and talk about what we saw with them, and if you're them, what do you do to enhance your chances going into next season? So let's start with Minnesota. If you're Minnesota, be it they just made changes, fairly new team, do you look to make changes to that team, or do you run it back as is? What do you think you guys think Minnesota needs to do next year to get beyond the Western Conference Finals? They've been in the Western Conference Finals 2 straight years. So let's see. Why don't Tweety, what you think?
Well, I think they need to run it back. When that was your first year running, the same team. You just need to run it back and see where it go from there. If it don't work out through the trade deadline, that's when you make changes during the trade deadline. But you run it back. You have to run it back, and you don't make changes. Maybe you make some more on the bench and everything, but you got to keep the same team, keep the same energy, the same continuity, and just run it back. You have to. They got far in that Western Conference.
All right. How about you, Q? What you think? If you're Minnesota,
Minnesota running it back, yes. But wouldn't you like to see somebody else, another ball guy there that can, they can dish and penetrate? Another guy like that. I know they think that Randall is that second guy, but I would like to see another guard there, somebody who can do a little penetration and distribute. Can take the pressure off of him, because when they double team him as he's pushing the ball up the floor as a point guard, it's kind of killing him sometimes, and he's not making all the time the right passes. So I would like to see another a point guard there to help Edwards out a little bit. I
agree with that. All right, that's a good thought. How about Martin? What do you think about Minnesota?
They need another guy that can, any other guy that can score the basketball, because what OKC did to them, and they showed a lot of weaknesses, because if they putting all their attention on Ant-Man and where they did, and they couldn't get nothing out of nobody else too much. But me personally, I think keep the core, but this is just my opinion. What I think they got to get rid of Gobert. This is just my opinion. I think they got to get rid of Gobert, put a package with Gobert and maybe a couple of wing players. Shoot, try to get Durant or something. I'm just saying. Hey, because to me, Gobert is, he everybody talking about his defense and this and that. I'm not sold on his defense either. If he's not up under the rim blocking shots, yeah, he does that. But anytime you got to pull him out the paint or whatever, he's useless, and he's not the best rebounder either. I'm just saying.
He's not.
Mark, quick question. Would you put Randall in that package to get the Randall?
No,
I would keep Randall. I would keep Randall, but I would put a package with Gobert. Because the thing about it, they have a lot of wing players and this and that. So with Gobert and some wing players, I'm just saying, I try to get another scorer, somebody that can score the basketball on their own, that don't need somebody setting them up. I'm just saying, I would think about moving Gobert. Gobert and some wing players. Hey, if they could get Durant, that would be something right there.
Now, I'm going to piggyback on that. At the trade deadline, what I heard the other day was at the trade deadline, they were actually trying to go after Durant. So they were they were actively pursuing Durant, and it just didn't work out. So they're expected to in the offseason to go back after him. I think he'd be a great addition for him. But I'm going to piggyback on something you said when I look at Minnesota. I think Gobert, for me, got to go. Got to go. Because the thing is this, if you're not going to give me points on offense at all, right?
Right.
His hands are terrible, so you can't throw the ball into him when they come and double and do all that. So he can't catch the ball. Then next thing is, like you say, he's not a great rebounder. He's only a good help defender. So for me, Gobert, the tag you pay for him, I would look to bundle him up, and I would look to get rid of him. And then I would tell you outside of that, and see what I can get. But then outside of what I would do internally, I think is you got to play Shannon more. Shannon got to get into the starting lineup because Shannon he was a difference maker when they brought him in those couple playoff games, in the 2 playoff games. I don't think he played much in game 7, but in not game 7, in the last game, in game 5, but in the 2 games prior, to that, he actually played and he was coming out getting scores in bunches. Like in 4 minutes, he had 9 points, and then the next game, I think he had in 3 minutes, he had 7 points. Yeah, so I think Shannon's got to play more. And then I say the other thing they got to do is I think you got to start phasing out the point guard.
Mike Conley.
Because Conley, they got that boy on the bench that played at Kentucky, Dillingham. He actually is good. I think you got to start getting him more playing time. So you got to start pulling him into the mix because he can get to the basket. Conley is a better shooter, but Conley, I think he's just getting to that point where you got to control his minutes, and you got to be able to bring in somebody that can break down the defense and help out.
Conley can be in the package.
Conley can be in the package.
Because he can definitely be in the fucking package.
Nobody gonna take Rudy Gobert's contract. First of all, that boy is making $43 million.
Well,
next year.
How many years do you got left on his deal though?
He just signed a 5-year, $205 million contract. He making almost 44 next year.
What year is he in? For
the right amount of draft picks, somebody will take his ass.
It depends what year he's in. If he's in a year where he's close to expiring, then they'll take him. If he got a lot of time on his deal left, then no, they won't.
He got 2 years.
No, not with 44 million.
Yeah, if it's a 1 year expiring, then somebody would take it. I don't know how many years you have left on the deal.
It depends. But
they'll take it if it's expiring. Because then what happens is you take the hit for that season, but then you get all those dollars available in the off season. So a lot of teams do that where they'll look at expiring deals and they'll take it on in the beginning and then have it waived and have those dollars available for the off season. So.
But then you also throw in, but it's not just him, but they have multiple wing players that they can give up. I mean, and these are good wing players we're talking about, so it'd be a package deal. Yeah, it'd be a package deal with him and a couple other players. Yeah.
All right, we got a question here. Let's take this question real quick. It says, "Do you think the Pacers are a better matchup than the Knicks against OKC?"
I think so.
Martin, you're the homer. We'll let you take that one. Take that one first.
I think the Pacers is a better matchup because the way they can score the basketball and they have multiple people that can score the basketball. So yes, I do think Pacers are a better matchup because with the Knicks, they would have slowed the Knicks down, and the Knicks would have been a half court, and then going against that defense in the half court, it'd have been tough for them. And then I think the Pacers with multiple people that can score the basketball, they can put up 30 a game. You got 4 or 5 people on their team that can score 30.
Right.
I mean, we just seen it versus the Knicks. So yeah, I think the Pacers are a better matchup for OKC.
I think they have a lot of bodies too. I think OKC has a lot of bodies to throw at Brunson too, which would have you slow down Brunson, then you slow down the Knicks. So I think that's one of the things that OKC would do to them, and therefore it wouldn't be a good matchup. They would probably sweep the Knicks.
Yeah, the Knicks would have been tired. They would have tired. They only played 6-7 players, so the Knicks would have been tired. They would have been ran out the gym.
Yeah, we played 8-9 players
finally went to 8 or 9. Finally. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
They had to.
Well, it was versus certain teams, versus certain teams, we didn't have to play 8-9 people. We just had to play 6 or 7 to beat certain teams. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, look, now that we on the Knicks, let's talk the Knicks. We talked Minnesota. So looking at the Knicks, who were in the Eastern Conference Finals, do you come back in and run it back, or do you make changes? And if you look at making changes, what type of changes do you make? So, Martin, why don't you go ahead first?
I was fine with that. You run it back. You run it back. I mean, this is the first year that we had with Towns. We know with Towns this year, and we made it to the Eastern Conference Final. They beat Boston, which they didn't. I'm a Knicks fan, and I didn't think they were gonna beat Boston. So it wasn't as bad as years. Other people were saying like it was a bad year. So I think, and the problem too with teams these days, they so quick to break up a thing, especially when they had a decent year. You know what I'm saying? So, and winning the championship, it's a stepping stone. You know what I'm saying? Right. This is the first year we played with Towns. We made it to the Eastern Conference Final. So we have to run this back. I think we got to run it back. Now, I do think we do need to change some philosophy of our style of play. I do think that. And I mean, and that's got something to do with coaching. And I do think he need to play some more players because in the last couple of games, he finally opened it up. I mean, he was playing with eight to nine people. And some of the people calling the bench was playing good. So I think the coaching style has to change. But player wise, I think they're good. They should run it back.
All right, Q, what you got?
They should run it back. They should run it back.
They need to run it back, but they got to run it back with something. If you think this team is going to get to where they got to this year with this roster, you're sadly mistaken. Everybody around them is at least as good as them, if not better. You know what I'm saying? The only reason y'all stumble past Boston, y'all don't like to throw injuries a part of it, but even for the next season, Tatum probably won't be there. He probably just be getting back for the playoff time. So, that might play a little factor in it. But y'all got Pistons, Milwaukee, and the freaking Indiana Pacers to deal with. Y'all gonna need some more. Cause you're gonna need some more. Okay. You're gonna need a little more firepower. That's what I'm say about it.
They just gonna need the bench. They just need to solidify their bench, and everything's gonna be okay. They put Shaman in there, and he was scoring for him.
Shaman,
you know what I mean? Yeah, he played real good for him, and when he got off the bench. So, but that's all they need. That's all they need is a bench. They need 2 or 3 players on that bench that can score.
Williams balled
and
his
they be
ass
good.
off too yesterday.
And they be good. They run it back.
Yeah. What I say for the Knicks is I think first year together, they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. Anybody can say what they want to about them getting beat. The thing is nobody expected the Knicks to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals and make it past Boston. Nobody. And they beat Boston. The Tatum thing had nothing to do with them beating Boston. They were up on Boston, and they were going to beat Boston before Tatum even went out. No, they wouldn't come back.
They could have came back.
They wouldn't come back.
They had a chance.
They weren't coming back. They were up 3-1 with Tatum. 3-1 with Tatum. So you don't switch it up. I think what you do have to do is I think I agree with Tweety. You gotta bring in a little bit more bench. So you bring in the players around and make sure you can get a punch and scoring. And then Thibodeau's got to play the bench. And then the other thing is you got to change your philosophy up where you can't have Brunson. Everything's so heavily relying on Brunson. You got to have the ball moving so everybody becomes a threat as opposed to Brunson dribble. I said about Luka, so I got to say the same thing. Sometimes Brunson does that same shit that Luka does, where he got the ball in his hands too much, and it just stagnates the offense. You gotta move the ball and make sure that everybody's a threat on the court. So I think that's what I would do with them. I would attack the bench and go from there. Get another shooter, right, and then go from there. I think they gave up a lot for Bridges. So you got to see if he pans out. He didn't play bad this year, but I think they expected more from him defensively than what they got. And what they saw. So I think the Knicks are a viable team going to next year, but they got to get some more scoring.
Well, and just one thing real quick. I mean, when we talk about this now, Indiana beat us, and they did beat us, but I would be saying break it up if we was getting the ass kicked and we would even be competitive in these games. Majority of these games was competitive. We gave away the first game. Right. So
that was big too.
You don't see that. And if they win that game, we're going to a game 7. So it's not like we got totally dominated like Minnesota did. Right. That's why I said they need to make some changes big time because they got dominated the whole series. Right. So I agree with that. Just something to keep in mind.
But when you finally ran into your healthy nemesis, what happened?
Say again now?
You ran into your healthy nemesis. The team that you took to Game 7 last time, they took you to Game 6.
Yeah, and they beat us.
So,
they were the better team.
You took a step back from the team that you took to Game 7 last year.
Not necessarily because they blew. Not necessarily. That really all comes down to Game 1 when they blew Game 1. Really, it should be a 7-game series again this year. So I think I agree that this is a close series. It ain't like there was a blowout series. It was a close series.
Right.
The Knicks had a chance in the series. That Game 1, you can't lose games like that in the playoffs. Right? The playoffs, there's no forgiveness in the playoffs for losing games that you're supposed to win. When you blow a game like that, then you fuck up a series. Right? You fuck up a series.
Yeah.
And then lose Game 2 at home.
Yeah.
And
big 2.
And the thing is,
Game 2 was probably because Game 1.
Yeah.
and you know who I heard say something yesterday that caught on and made sense? Charles Barkley did. And what Charles Barkley said when he was talking about it yesterday is like, look, it's hard as hell to win 4 games in the playoffs, right? But when you blow the game like the Knicks did in Game 1, now you got to win 5 games, right? Now you got to outplay them 5 times because you blew one. And that's what this came down to is you blew one. You should be, this series should be playing tomorrow. It should be playing tomorrow. Game 7. You can't blow a game like that. But kudos to the Pacers. Kudos to the Pacers for winning the game.
It was a better team. They was a better team, and they deserve to win.
Yeah. So
that's it.
I think
all it is.
It's all season stuff that got to be fixed up. I think across the board, not necessarily getting players, but I think there's things that they need to address. But Minnesota, I would say, Minnesota needs to make some changes because they ain't going nowhere.
For sure.
Guess what, y'all? What's
that?
What's that?
I'm so goddamn happy. You know what? Because we can bury them motherfucking. We ain't got to talk about them motherfucking dicks no more.
I'm glad you're happy.
We are done. Them bitches is buried, and we got a plot right next to my team, motherfucker.
Okay. All right.
True that they all always fishing, and there's only 2 teams left. Hey, we look forward to coming back and having an opportunity to talk about the championship as it progresses. I don't think it's going to be the cinch that Tweety thinks it is. I think it's going to be a little bit more intrigue to it. I think the outcome is the same, but I think the path that gets to the outcome, I think it's going to be a little bit different. It's not going to be a walk in the park for them, and I do think the coaching. I think Martin made that point. I think Carlisle is going to make a difference in the series. So I think OKC wins, but it'll be a challenge.
You know what happens when you go to the finish line, right? It's a winner and a loser.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
You got first place and second place. It don't matter how you get there.
You know what?
As long as you get there.
All I'm gonna say is this:
Tweety,
I'm gonna watch this first game, and I might be changing my pick. That's all I'm gonna say. As I watch this first game and I see the matchup, I might change my pick.
Okay, let's change it then. Change it right now.
I could be the first one.
Change it right now.
So what I'm gonna say is to your comment, Tweety, is about getting there. The only place where that differs though is we said the number of games, right? So and you said a gentleman's sweep. So that's why it matters how you get there because we called out the number of games we think the series is going to go. Exactly. So that's why I bring it up because it makes a difference there.
You showed your respect level for Indiana.
So, I think I'm hoping for a good series. I think we'll see a good series. We'll have some good stuff to talk about over the course of podcasts and live stream. Look forward to having an opportunity to do that. Appreciate everyone jumping on today and sharing a little bit of cyberspace and sports with us and culture. We look forward to coming back and doing it again next week. We'll be on again Tuesday. Please tune in. From the Hood Report, what do we always say, Tweety?
Like and subscribe.